This is your Weather Extreme video for Saturday, February the 25th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and before we get started on today's weather, let's take a look at what happened yesterday. Kind of interesting. We've seen this a number of times this year. The temperatures falling just about all day long. You see that around 70, around 1 a.m., and then during the day yesterday, Friday, the temperature pretty much falling. Got a little bit of sun between about 1 and 3 p.m. and actually came up a few degrees, on the order of about, 4 or 5 degrees or so, and then continued to fall after that. And interesting, look at the dive that the dew point took. You can tell the exact time that the cold front came through here with the wind shift. Looks like it was, just after 7 a.m. The dew point taking a dive of about, looks like about 15 degrees or so, and then continued to fall for much of the day before bottoming out around 5 p.m. and staying fairly steady around 25 degrees. So kind of an interesting shot of the weather yesterday. And those were from my observations. Look at our Skycam network this morning from Alpha, and there you go. There's a beautiful shot as the sun is rising over Trussville. And another pretty shot, we're looking off to the west, not to the east in this case, but the sky getting a little bit of color from the rising sun. High pressure over the central part of the United States, the lower Mississippi River Valley, and that is pretty much making its influence felt across the southeastern U.S., but we still have showers along the Gulf Coast from the front that passed through here. The upper atmosphere, we're looking at a trough over the eastern part of the country, and of course there's a little bit of short wave that's hanging back over South Texas that'll be moving across the Gulf Coast, but it doesn't look like that's going to be giving us anything to worry about here. Temperatures are, I'd say chilly would be a good description. Probably about 85% of the country is below 32 degrees, that red line you see running through the map there. And much of central Alabama is sitting between about 27 and 32 degrees as I'm doing this around 6 a.m. Or a little bit after. And again, we see showers along the northern Gulf Coast area, kind of just getting out of reach of some of the radars, or just barely being shown on some of those radars along the coast. A number of winter weather type advisories. Some of those in the southeastern U.S. are related to temperatures. Some are related to the dry weather with fire weather. Across the northern tier of the United States, you see those kind of reddish and purplish. Those are all related to winter weather advisories and or watches warnings, and same for the northern New England. Now, as far as future precipitation, it looks like we get another shot of rain coming on Tuesday primarily. This goes out through 12Z on Thursday, so the next event after that one that's expected Friday into Saturday is not showing up. All right, the 06Z GFS model run, which will be the main one that we deal with, but I'm going to pop in a few pictures here and there from the European. And interesting, there seems to be pretty close agreement on the models, at least on this particular run. But there's the surface high pressure over the lower Mississippi River Valley for today. And, of course, you see the 540 line coming down into the southern Appalachians. So cool, but not terribly cold. We see a really strong shortwave moving into the western Great Lakes area on Sunday. But for us, the surface high just continues to migrate across the area, positioned over the outer banks of the Carolinas, again on Sunday. The shortwave dampens out as it comes across the Great Lakes, but notice that we are now getting another deep trough over the western part of the United States, digging into the southwest U.S., and that's going to be our next storm system. But in the meantime, moisture is beginning to come up ahead of that storm system across Texas and Louisiana, so the moisture beginning to return, and you can kind of get the idea of perhaps a warm front in there, stretching from the eastern Gulf across into Texas. On Tuesday, we see that closed low come out of the southwestern U.S., out of the mid Rockies area, and that will be dragging a surface low that will be coming out of the mid Rockies and coming into the plain states. And interesting that, as I say, the models are in fairly good agreement. Now, The GFS, if you notice, is fairly shy on the precipitation for us, but certainly there is a possibility we'll see, some scattered showers on Tuesday. The European seems to be a little more bullish on the rain amounts and the coverage of showers, but still, they're in good agreement, showing that a warm front is coming up, so we should be warming up nicely. That close low comes out into the vicinity of Chicago on Wednesday, and of course that will drag a front down through the area with a surface low positioned pretty much over Minnesota and Wisconsin up there. And then we see on the European that indeed, while it's got a little double-barreled low, and it's not, it certainly is close, and the frontal position is not bad. These are all the same time on Wednesday at 18Z. All right, moving on, we see that system moves out, and as it does, it's replaced by an upper ridge, and that should give us good weather for Thursday. And then, whoops, we're going to do it all over again. Here comes another trough coming out of the Rockies, and that will be dragging another surface low or generating another surface low that will be coming across the mid-Mississippi River Valley, and that should be dragging a front our way on Friday. Now, it looks like that'll probably get here later in the day, and there is the potential for, I think, the possibility we might see some severe weather with this one. Now, we're getting out into the edge of voodoo. This is midnight on Friday night or early Saturday morning, however you want to look at that. But certainly look at the contrast, the 540 line digging down into the Red River Valley of Texas and Oklahoma. So certainly a strong contrast across that area. And indeed, the European also at that same time suggesting the possibility. Well, actually, this is 6 hours off because the European doesn't go out quite as far. But certainly suggesting the possibility of strong thunderstorms. And then for Saturday, a week from today, we see that swings through, and as it does, of course, it will drag that front through our area. Notice that the front's actually located over along the southeast coast of the U.S., and just going out one more time here to Sunday, and that means we should be improving by Sunday, but we're getting out into voodoo. And speaking of voodoo, there it goes again. We've certainly got a nice series of systems over the next week that are certainly going to keep us hopping with no real rest between the systems. But this is the 7th, Wednesday the 7th of March, and there you go. Here comes another fairly substantial trough with a fairly good amplitude. But take heart. It looks like the mild weather returns. This is the 11th, Sunday the 11th of March, and certainly that is a warm pattern for us with a good southwesterly fetch and another in a series of these troughs coming out of the western United States. Well, that'll do it for the Weather Extreme video for today. Thank you for tuning in. Expect to have the next one posted by around 7:30 or 8 on Sunday morning. Meantime, I hope your Saturday is a good one, and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.